Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, December the 13th, 2023, through Friday, December the 15th, 2023. Let's dive in to see what's going on in the YNR uh, land here. Um, I think I'm going to start with Nikki. We getting a lot of Nikki and bottoms up, right? A lot of Nikki and drinking. Um, Audra, she comes back to work. She says she's ready, right? She gets back to work. She can't think of nothing but what happened to her and the flask that's in her purse. That's all she's thinking about is being able to down that flask. So Audra is trying to bring her up to speed. Nikki had told Audra what happened. Audra's trying to bring her up to speed on projects and blah, blah, blah. Nikki is not paying attention. And so Audra's like, hello, Nikki. Nikki, did you hear anything I've said? And so she goes, I was just thinking on what happened. And so Audra's like, well, maybe you need to eat something. Would you like the two of us to go out and get some lunch? And Nikki's like, no, but you go and get some lunch. And you know what? Why don't you bring me back a salad? Right? So Audra's like, well, okay. So Audra leaves. Nikki reaches into that purse and drinks the whole flask in one sitting. Okay, Nikki. you know, so um she just gets it back in her purse in time, and Audra walks in. And actually, I think she heard Audra or could hear her coming because she fit down the flask, threw a mint in her mouth. And just as she's putting it away, Audra walks in and Nikki says, well, that was fast. And she goes, not fast enough. I was trying to, get them to hurry up so I can get this back to you. And so Nikki says, you know what? This was a little too soon for me. This really was. I'm going to go ahead and go home. You can take care of what needs taken care of. And Audra says, oh, okay, I'll handle things for you. So Nikki gets up and gets her coat and gets her purse, and she's not stumbly, but something's wrong, right? And Audra notices it. So Audra's like, "Oh, Nikki, here's your salad. Like you had me go get you a salad." So she goes, "Oh, okay." And she takes the bag and she kind of is not too steady on her feet going out the door, but not falling down to give too much pause, but enough pause that Audra sticks her body out the door and is watching Nikki walk away. Like, what is wrong with her, right? So Nick, let's see. Cole comes back. Remember, Cole was going to Oregon, to the house to get some of Jordan's, not Jordan, Claire's DNA. And he came back and he said, yes, he got hair from her hairbrush. He got some articles. He says, I got a good sampling of DNA from Claire because they were like, look, in case she doesn't agree, we're gonna find out anyway. So now Michael, let me see. Let me move some slides here. Michael, remember I said Michael saw Claire and Michael believes Claire. He has sympathy for her. And, you know, he's going to defend her, which we knew. And then we had Nate and Devon. Devon is actually telling Nate, look, with Lily being gone, and we don't know when she's coming back, I'm going to need you to step up and handle quite a bit. And Nate says, I'm ready. Because they're giving him the R&D, Research and Development Division, to oversee. He says, but I'm going to also need you to handle some other things. And so he says, we got a new hire. Forget what he said her field was in. He says, Nate, I would like you to introduce yourself and take the lead and guide her through getting acclimated with the company. And he goes, oh, okay, I'd love to take that on. And so Devon says, good. He goes, thank you again, Devon, thank you. And finally, Devon said, you know what, Nate, you got to stop thanking me because you've thanked me and Bottom line, let's just dig in and get going. He goes, no, okay, I understand. And so Victoria walks in because they're at Kelly's. So she walks in and she looks at Nate. And Nate's talking to Devon and his eyes catch her. And so Devon looks like, and he goes, oh, it's Victoria. So he looks at Nate. Nate says, I'm going to go and get right on these projects. So he steps up, gets his jacket, walks past Victoria and looks at her and said, Victoria. And she said, Nate. And he turned and he walked right on out the door. So Victoria comes over to Devon and she actually sings Nate's praises. And Devon says, well, that's a completely different story than your father told me. She goes, my father gave his side of that story. She says, no, Nate was unfairly set up. What my father did to him was very unfair. And so, Devon just took that as a grain of salt because whatever. Plus, he kind of they knew it was one-sided. So, and it has no bearing to, them giving him a second chance. So she goes, I take it he's back at Chancellor Winters. And Devon said, yeah, but that's all I'm going to tell you. See, because come on, Victoria. We know what you tried to do when Nate was at Chancellor Winters, so no. So we have Heather. She just shows up. Daniel's in his house coat, not expecting anybody. Shows up with, oh, I've got coffee. Lucy said you'd be here, but I suppose I should have called. See, every time she pops up at his door, I suppose I should have called. Yes, you should have called. You have a cell phone, Heather. You don't just turn up. I would have brought a cup for Lily, but I figured she'd probably already be at the office. And then Daniel told her, oh no, Lily had to go out of town. And he tells her the story why Lily had to go out of town. She may be out of town for a while. And ooh, Heather thought, oh, I hope everything is okay with her daughter. And in her mind, oh, her brain is just clicking. So they're talking, and of course, Heather has to reach over and grab Daniel's hand on how proud she is of the way he's turned his life around. He's the man that she knew he could be, and she all of this. And I'm saying, look at you. Look at here. And Daniel just pretends not to see it. Oh, he sees it. He's just pretending not to see it. So she goes, well, look, I know you haven't eaten. So why don't we, because, she starts work there soon. Hasn't started yet, but she did get hired. She goes, well, let's go get a bite to eat. So they go to society and Lily is there with Devon talking to Devon. And Heather, she just talking to just lit up, coming into society, and Daniel's talking to her. And look, you see the side eye there? That's Abby. Abby is always in other people's business. So Devon's talking to her and she goes, how long is Lily gonna be gone again? And Devon says, I don't know, for as long as Maddie needs her. And she says, oh, and she's looking back at Heather. And she goes, well, I hope it's not too long, right? So Daniel is sitting there talking to Heather, or Heather's talking to Daniel, and his phone rings. He picks up, turns it over. Oh, that's Lily. I gotta take this. Gets up to the table and books Heather mid-sentence. Books. And Heather stops and she kind of looks and she's watching Daniel. Lily! Oh, and he's so happy to hear from you. And he's blah, 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 blah. Right? And she's just looking like, oh, I gotta come in between that. And Abby is right there watching her every facial expression. Abby's watching. Like, I see exactly what you're trying to do, Heather. So we shall see. We shall see, what's going on, what's going to happen. Well, we already know what's going on and what's going to happen. Heather's making her move. And quite frankly, Heather and Lucy will out Trump Lily. Will out Trump Lily because of the history, because of the years, and because they're parents to Lucy. Now, yes, Daniel and Lily have pieces of history, but not continuous like Heather and Lucy. So now we have, let's get to actually this day here. Yes, this day is Thursday. Now, on Thursday, we have, let me talk a little bit about what happened on Thursday. Phyllis drops in on Danny. See, Daniel's spot is just the drop-in spot for everybody's exes. Oh, she comes with a housewarming gift for Daniel. I was hoping to catch Daniel. And Danny says, oh, well, he's already left for the office. You could, give that to him there. And she goes, no, I should have known he's at the office. I do work for him. She goes, I'll leave it here. And she just walks on in. So she's talking to Danny and she goes to the piano. Oh, is this the song you were working on? He goes, yes, yes, yes. And let's finish and blah, blah, blah. And, this is the song I helped you on. And oh, she just going on and gushing, gushing, gushing. Then it gets to the point where Phyllis says, hey, let's go get some lunch. Since Danny's not here, why don't you go? Well, since Daniel is not here, why don't you go? And I'm thinking, girl, you haven't even reported for work yet. So he goes, oh, okay. So they go to society. Christine was there giving Chance Christine was at, was it society? Where was Christine? Yeah, it was society. Oh no, law enforcement is in you. You're quitting. Oh no. Oh, and Summer's like, but business is in his DNA too, because she goes, law enforcement's in your DNA. And Summer's like, it's business is in his DNA too. And if this is his decision, I'm happy for him, right? So Christine is getting ready to leave. As she walks towards the door, she hears this laughter. And it's Danny and Phyllis coming in. They were laughing about something. Oh, and she's just looking. So Phyllis, hey, Cricket. See, I would stop that right off the bat. It would be, you know what, Phyllis? I'm Christine. You have never called me Cricket. Only my friends called me Cricket back in the day. Now, Danny could still call me Cricket if he wants to, but everybody else, except for you, close friends, may call me Cricket, but they mainly call me Christine now. You're Christine. See? And so she goes, hey, and Christine just looks at her. She goes, Danny, did you know, Danny finished the song? I helped him write it. I helped him. And so Christine goes, you don't say. She goes, Danny, can I speak to you for a minute? So she goes outside and she's like, I'm getting messages last night. No, she goes, I can't, Danny says, yeah, she came over looking for Daniel and she got stuck with me. He's all thinking, oh, it's all innocent about it. And that's when Christine says, can I speak to you for a moment? So she takes him outside where the little pane glass windows are. And she's like, last night I thought, I'm getting a mixed message about last night. He goes, why? She goes, you were with me last night and now you're here with her? And then she goes, oh, as it's coming out of my mouth, I hear how that sounds. I'm sounding like a jealous teenage girl or jealous high schooler. Yes, you are, Christine. Yes, you are. Now, mind you, you're right. Phyllis is definitely making a play for him, but for you to automatically want to smack that, lock this thing down, you guys haven't gone there yet. And so he goes, haven't I told you, Christine? There is no competition between you and Phyllis. It's you. And so they kiss. And oh, she's really getting into that kiss with him. And then they hug, and she makes sure she turns her face, looking back inside a society at Phyllis, and gives a squeeze and a smirk kind of on Danny. And Phyllis is just looking, and Summer's like, oh, woo, yikes. And I'm like, see, here we go. Christine is going to cause Phyllis to fight really dirty. And I'm sorry. Has Christine ever won a battle against Phyllis? And the answer is absolutely, positively no. She has never, ever won a battle against Phyllis. Now we have, let's see, Sally and Adam. They were meeting, they were, talking, having lunch and just enjoying themselves. We really doing this and this typical back and forth crap. And uh they're just talking. But then we have Chloe runs into Nick at the coffee house. And then Chloe in Chloe fashion gets all off into Nick and Sally's business. And she's being drugged back in by Adam. You have to save Sally. You and Sally were perfect for each other. You're the perfect man for her. She needs a man like you. And you this, that, and he on and on. I thought, oh my goodness. This woman doesn't understand an ounce of boundaries because Nick is grown and Sally's grown and Adam is grown. And so is Chloe. So keep your doggone mouth out of it, Chloe. So she makes Nick think about, oh, maybe there is something, maybe Sally and I, because he goes, no, I like being with Sally, but Sally couldn't make up her mind. So she goes, you have to go after her. You have to pretty much make her make up her mind. I had nothing else to say about that, right? So Victoria comes by and she talks to Nikki. And Victoria tells Nikki that Michael, they're going to do the DNA test. Absolutely. I have to know if she's my daughter or not. Michael's going to try to arrange for bail. We're going to get her into a psychiatric facility near Genoa City or here in Genoa City. And Nikki's like, no, what? But before Victoria came in, Nikki was there again at the Chug-a-Lug bar station. She just drinking, her little flask. And she realized, oh, my flask is empty. So she was trying to fill the flask, right? And drinks straight from the bottle. I don't know how she could handle that much vodka. She'd already had a flask at work. She's trying to refill that one. She decides she can't wait. She's drinking from the bottle. And so Victoria, mom, and she puts the flask in her jacket, and she goes, yes, darling. She goes, that's when she wanted to tell her what was going on. Now, Victor was there. Victor just letting Nikki be Nikki, right? And so she tells Victoria, and Victoria tells her about that. No, that is the right thing to do, and she goes, but you don't know if she's your daughter. She goes, but we got to find out. And so she goes, you don't know. You're going to get her out and she could, connect back with Jordan, and you don't know what they'll be planning. And she goes, I've got to find out if she's my daughter. So Victor comes out and he goes, hey, sweetheart, or whatever he's talking to Victoria. And Nikki goes, Victoria is, getting ready to try to get Claire, have Claire put out on bail and released and blah, blah, blah. But Victor had already talked to Michael Baldwin. And he pretty much was trying to strong arm Michael not to take the case. But Michael's like, I've already taken the case. That young woman has been manipulated and brainwashed from the time she was a young child. No one should treat a child that way. He goes, no, I am going to represent her to the best of my ability. He didn't budge. And Victor's like, then I will protect my family. No, sure you will. Sure you will, Victor. You and your security team can never protect anybody. So that he comes back, and then Victoria says what she's saying, and Victor gets a call from the security team because see, Jordan had made a fake tip that woman. I saw a description fitting that woman that was on the news, and I'm thinking, was it really on the news? And she's at this motel, this motel room, blah blah blah. I think she's planning something to hurt the Newman family again. How would you know? Anonymous tipper. How would you know? So Victor's security team calls and tells him about that. And it's, now the police haven't got there yet, but Victor's security teams got there. And Victor calls Nicholas and says, meet me at GCAC. We've got some lead on this Jordan woman. And he goes, okay. So he leaves the coffee house. Victor leaves Chloe at the coffee house and goes to GCAC. When he gets, not Victor, Nick. When he gets there, guess who he sees? Sally and Adam. Sally's looking like she's enjoying herself, like she always, her and Adam, even when she was with Nick. Nick couldn't stand the comfortable. Once she got over the hating him for losing her baby, the comfortableness that she and Adam just had, right? She could like totally be herself with Adam. So he's just watching. And Victor comes from behind. He goes, what are you looking? And he sees, he goes, son, don't even concern yourself with that. Just walk away. And Nick says, yep, that's what I'm gonna do. But someone pretty much had talked me into doubting that. And no, he goes, no, I'm leaving that alone. So it's like, okay, Chloe, your urging did not help, So, but remember I said Nikki had that flask in her jacket. So what she did was with Victoria, she said, can you give me some water, darling? And when she gets up to go get her mother some water, Nikki takes the flask out of her purse and puts it, out of her jacket pocket and puts it in her purse. Because in case Victoria hugs her, mom, goodbye. What's this in your, yeah, Nikki. So Victoria says, mom, I don't want to leave you here. And Nikki's like, oh, I'll be fine, darling. And of course, as soon as Victoria leave the room, she drinking some more. She should be stumbling down drunk by the time anybody gets home, right? She really, really should. And so Victor he had gotten word, which scared Nikki, that Jordan was in town. And there's an anonymous tip. And so she goes, oh, no. And he goes, my darling, that's why you must stay here. And I need to keep you safe. She goes, I am not going to let that woman keep me prisoner again, Victor. And he goes, you just stay here because I need to make sure you're safe. And I'm thinking Victoria and Nick and Victor's in just as much danger, but Victoria's waltzing around back and forth, right? Like nothing's up. So Nick and Victor get to the hotel room, and Jordan has it laid out. We got a knife. We got 3 vials of the alleged poison, a picture of Eve left there, and the album with the pictures of Victor and Nikki, their life pretty much. And Victor says, something's wrong here. And Nick said, what? He goes, this is too easy. This seems like it's staged, like it's a setup. At least I'm happy he thought that, because it is a setup and it is staged. Now I'm thinking, where's the GCAC? It'd be GCPD. Victor had a chance to go on in, and let's hope he don't touch anything, but his hands are in his pocket. Tampering with the scene? Come on now. For one thing, if the police do get there and see all this, how you gonna prove it was Jordan's? You and Nick are in there. Could have been planted by you guys. The only thing is your fingerprints won't be on it. Jordan's fingerprints is all on that stuff. But then it shows Jordan checking herself into the GCAC. See, so now she's close, up close and personal, right up under everybody's nose. That's what she is now. So now let's look at we're rounding on down to Friday. Tucker comes by the Abbott house, oh, waving this truce flag. Oh, I'm doing the olive branch. Where's Ashley? And so Ashley comes down. She's just looking at him. Jack, I want to extend this is over. I've squashed it. I've moved on. And Jack is like, you can put your hand down. And so um, he asked Diane, did you tell Jack what I said? She goes, what? That you no longer want to plot revenge? No, because I didn't believe it when you said it. And I knew Jack wouldn't believe it either. And so Ashley goes, neither do I, Tucker. What's going on? And he goes, looky here, you and Diane on the same page? And so he goes, I just want to, you know, buy your company, Ashley, and just start new. Just start a new business, start out anew, and blah, blah, blah. And so Ashley says, okay, I'll think about a price and I'll let you know. And he looked at her. She goes, because it ain't going to be cheap. And he's like, oh, okay. So now he leaves. And we've got Billy, because he goes, where's Kyle and Billy? And so Jack's like, their whereabouts are none of your concern. And so Billy is with Chelsea, and Chelsea, he was telling her, you know what? Thank you for being you and having my back, because you were right. And he ended up coming to the conclusion that he's going to have to step back from the Tucker fight from the Jabot end. He said, because it is, I'm using it for this rush, this adrenaline thing. And you know, Chelsea, I will be going down a dark road and I don't want to. And so he said, you know, now my mom, he's not going to work with Jill so he could take up the fight over there. And Chelsea goes, well, won't you just be taking up the fight over there? He goes, no. He says, the difference is my mom is in a different situation. Jack has Kyle, Diane, and Ashley working with him. She says, now, yes, Devon is on red alert, but my mom has no family working with her. He says, and you know what, Jack, I'm always trying to prove myself. It's like he's always looking over his shoulder for me to misstep. So I'm constantly trying to prove myself to him. He goes, I don't have to constantly prove myself to my mother. My mother accepts me for who I am. He goes, yes, no, my mother keeps me on the straight and narrow. But my mother's not looking for me to fail. And I'm thinking that's because your mother don't give you enough control. She knows what you can handle and what you can't. That's why she made Lily the CEO, Billy. But he goes, my mother never expresses vulnerability. But she told me she needs me. She is all alone there on her side of the table at Chancellor Winters, and she needs me. He says, so you know? And he shook his head, yes, and Chelsea is like, I guess they're supposed to go to some snorkels he gave us for Saint-Tropez or whatever it's for. She goes, well, it's better in the summer anyway. You know what you got to do. And he bent over the table and kissed her like, yes, I do. So good. He's going to go back to Chancellor in whatever position Jill's going to put him in. And it's probably going to be in Lily's position. And we got Kyle hitting the sheets with Audra. And right after sex, Audra's right into, what you going to give Tucker? You got to give something to prove your loyalty. You this, that, and the other. Tucker ain't going to wait for long and blah, blah, blah. And so Kyle says, how am I supposed to prove my loyalty when he hasn't even told me what he wants me to do? what I'm looking for. And so she goes, well, Kyle, you're gonna have to give him something. It's like you're dragging your feet and yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're both getting dressed. Tucker knocks on the door. Audra, Audra, whatever, Tucker. So Kyle opens the door and Tucker looks, he goes, you know what? You haven't given anything. I knew you couldn't handle it. You're blowing smoke. He's just going on and on about Kyle, right? And so Kyle turns the table. She goes, no, let's not talk about blowing smoke. For one, Tucker, you haven't even told me what kind of information you need and what you want to do with it. He says, so I'm beginning to think that you don't have a plan, that you don't. He said, because I could tell you my mother and father think with all your bolstering and threatening that you actually are just blowing smoke. And now that I know you haven't even told me anything, I'm beginning to think the same thing. So if you want something from me, you got to tell me what your plan is. So Tucker says, I want you to find a new product that's getting ready to be launched. Something that they cost a lot of time and research and money to develop. And I want you to get me the formula. Because Glissade is going to reproduce it and beat them to the market. And then I'm going to leave breadcrumbs as to who who inside of Jabot is the mole. And Kyle goes, okay, but wait a minute. Like, you ain't putting stringing me out to dry. And he goes, and who do you plan on it leading back to? He goes, either Billy or Diane. I haven't decided which. So Kyle just looked at him. And Tucker says, so you get to work and you get me something. So when he walks out, Audra says, okay, so you got Tucker to reveal his plan, even though I told you I was going to handle it. So Kyle said, I saw the opportunity and I took it. He says, but I'm going to tell you something, Audra. I don't believe that's his plan. She says, why not? He said, because for one thing, Audra, Tucker would know I would never go along with anything that has to do with setting up my mother. He knows that. He said, because I won't. Right? He says, so something else. His plan is ultimately something else. And what it is look, he would definitely make those crumbs lead back to me. He would double cross me. And you know what? He's going to double cross you too. And she's just standing there looking. Well, I've known Tucker. She goes, yeah. He says, yeah, but you're not going to get what you want from this, Audra. So you need to join me in outsmarting Tucker. And she's just standing there looking at him, right? So then last but not least, well, not last but not least, well, Chance is at the coffee house. Oh, he's so excited, because him and Summer leave society, or he leaves society and goes to the coffee house, and Summer shows up there, and he's like, oh, not like you're following me, but we're running into each other again. And she goes, yeah, well, we both had to get away from Christine and her her judgment on you and leaving the force. She goes, and by the way, I feel she was out of line. And Summers is tooting his horn and blah blah blah, because you're this and you deserve this and blah blah blah. So he was saying that he and Sharon, he had tickets to his favorite band tonight. And he goes, but Sharon's not too keen on him. But, hopefully tonight, the concert will get her to change her mind. So she goes, who's the band? So he says the name of the band. What? That's my favorite band, of course. Sharon is crazy not to be in love with them. No offense to Sharon, but I'm thinking, yeah, you wanted to do offense to Sharon, right? But come on, Sharon's generation doesn't like whatever that band that genre of music because Sharon is a cougar to Chance. Definitely, right? Way older than him. So Summer's like, "Ah, she don't know what she hopefully she does get into it because who cannot?" And he goes, "Okay, I didn't know you were their number one fan. Show me your tattoo." She goes, "That's personal." And he looked at her. She goes, he goes, "All right." So she goes, "Well, I do have a t-shirt from their last concert that she bought." And he goes, "Okay, well, that's proof enough." So he gets a phone call and it's from Sharon. She can't make it with him tonight. She's, in a boardroom dealing with, working on, whatever the company is doing, and she's real excited about it. And he goes, "Well, look, Sharon, don't worry about it. You handle your business and we will make it another night." So he turns to Summer and he goes, "Hey, I got an extra ticket to the concert tonight and it's yours if you want it." And she's like, "What?" Oh, now she's playing coy. "Oh, no, I don't know. I mean, Sharon might change her mind." He goes, "No, Sharon's not going to change her mind tonight." And she sounded like she's really enjoying her work. And so she goes, "Well, what about your friends on the force? Shouldn't you ask one of them?" And he says, "Well, I'm offering it to you." And so she goes, "Well, it's just tonight, I'm supposed to be um, meeting with a designer, and I don't know if I." He goes, "Well, look, Summer, know this. If you change your mind, the ticket is yours. All you have to do is call me." So she leaves and she's thinking, "Oh." And Daniel comes in. He's talking to her. See, now everybody and their mama's telling her pretty much go after Chance, right? Don't let the opportunity, it's obvious you're really into him or whatever. He's talking about opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And so Summer says, "Yeah, just like you and Heather." Because she seen when she was at his apartment and Heather and Lucy were there. And he looked at her, he goes, "What? Guess what? I got to get back to work, sis." And he jumps up. And she goes, "Yeah, I thought so." Uh-huh. So he leaves. So guess who picks up her phone and says she's in? I think she texted him though. She's in. She's gonna go, and she put her phone down just as happy, like, "Yes, yes, I'm gonna be with my Chance tonight." Chance better not kiss her or she's gonna probably kiss him and he's not gonna resist it. Watch. He's not gonna initiate the kiss. She's going to, and he's not gonna resist. That's what Chance is not gonna do. So anyway, that's it for the week. We've got, what else? Did anything else happen with those Newmans on Friday? No, it was mainly about the Abbotts. It really, really was mainly but back and forth the Tucker thing. And you know what? I'm getting so sick of that because nobody is working. Nobody. Jabot's not even a company that's up and soluble. They're all busy talking the same old thing at home. So let's go to comment corner, comment corner. We've got one comment. Monique says Chloe needs a life always into someone's business. If Sally wants to start something again with Adam, it's her choice. I am so with you, Monique. That sounds so immature. Chloe is one of them girls that you had, one of your girlfriends in high school was always blocking your boyfriends, always. Because she was secretly trying to get them herself. Chloe is not secretly trying to get Adam herself, but Chloe has never forgiven Adam for killing Delia. Never. And I'm not saying what parent might. Look, I ain't mad at her, but Chloe's opinion of Adam is completely biased. Completely. And her opinion should not be taken into account for anybody's future. You gonna give me future advice on Adam? No, at all, nada. So anyway, everybody, that's it. That's it for the week. I mean, whew, I hate having to sum up 3 days in one, but guess what? They're not moving that much. They really aren't. So I'll be back next week with another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.